All right, what's going on, boys and girls? So we are here with a another reaction video. Oh God, you guys hurt my head. So let's just roll into this and see what people have to say before I get into before I go off. Let's just put it that way. So let's see what they have to say here about Linux podcasts and news sites. So cranky.
Question from, not a question. Yeah, this is a question from
course, David.
Emil or Emil. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Why is every Linux podcast and website so negative all the time? Did everyone forget to eat a balanced breakfast or what?
I often wonder that myself. I feel like that we've been brought up in this world that if in order for something to be news, it needs to be poo-pooing on something. And that's sad. I think it's not just in the tech space. I think just in general. So I think that it's like, oh, here's this really horrible thing I read about, a bunch of little Tux the penguins got ran over by a car. Let's report on it, that kind of thing.
Right? It has to be negative. Negative stuff drives views. So a really good example of this is I put out mostly positive videos nowadays, right? Like I've tried to not chase the clicks anymore, and
I had to switch as well. Yeah,
and for a lot.
I try not to chase the clicks, homie. All your content is nothing but clicks.
A lot of years I chased the clicks, like I think I hit a point, and Matt, you probably kind of get this.
Oh, yeah.
I think I hit a point in my career where I was becoming popular, like not popular, that's the wrong word, viewed enough by a large enough audience that I was becoming known, and I got a taste of that. And I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna do more. And so then I started chasing those clicks and trying to come out with more stuff. And some of it was sensational, and some of it was a little negative and cranky. And oh man, the views shot through the roof, baby. It was nuts. It was crazy how quickly the views were growing, but it didn't make me happy. It made me sad inside. Like where my heart was started to get all black and crusty and gross.
So let's talk about that for a second, shall we? So you claim that it made your heart all black and crusty and stuff. That would require you to have one. Let's talk about the chasing the clicks, shall we? I'm pretty sure there's a few different articles I could criticize you on. Let's talk about the Jim Zillman uses a MacBook or an iPad or whatever the fuck it was. The short version of that entire thing was a tweet, no pictures, from Matthew Garrett saying that he saw Jim Zillman using a MacBook on an airplane. No verification. Way to vet your sources there, tech journalist boy. I could go on and on. Your criticisms of Ubuntu are canonical specifically. You like to inflate your ego. I mean, I got an ego, and I'll be the first to admit it. But, homie, you ain't as important as you think you are.
And then I go positive, and I report more on positive stories, and I report on amazing stories of kids learning Linux and building computers for old ladies, and people doing all sorts of amazing things, and they'll get viewed a tiny fraction.
Yeah. Really? Oh, really? How come I don't see you promoting like Linux-based charities like reglue.org or, some of the other stuff that, I don't know, that other Linux people are doing? Because it's you. So what you say you report and what you report, because I'm going to be honest, I make no claims about not being biased here. You are an overglorified, opinionated blogger who so desperately wants to be considered a journalist. Now we'll get into your PR stuff eventually, I'm sure. So let's continue with what McDouchebag has to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
of the amount of the negative stories. Even the negative stories about something that nobody knows about. It's just that it was negative, and then it gets bigger. And most of the podcasts out there in the Linux space are chasing each other. They're trying to outdo the views on each other. And I feel somewhat responsible for this. And honestly, Matt, you're somewhat responsible too.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because
I mean,
you and I help put a particular network on the map that is nothing but negativity and hate now. And it wasn't always that way, but we always did chase the clicks a little bit. You know what I mean?
Did, still do. See, I'm not going to have much criticism towards Matt Hartley. I'm indifferent. Most of my criticism here is going to be towards McDouchebag and the black and white on the other side. So let's get into the whole Jupiter Broadcasting thing. You might have helped create it. There's a reason the content is considered lazy now by a lot of people. A lot of people used to be fans. As far as chasing the clicks, we used to. Motherfucker, you still do.
And
and I remember that moment. You ever see that? To kind of give you, remember that episode of The Simpsons with Ralphie and Bart's like, if you look closely, you could actually see the moment when his little heart breaks or whatever. He goes, like that. I remember that moment.
Yes.
When I was in that particular situation where I kind of went,
I just died a little inside.
Yeah, it's just like, So now I report.
Do you know I die a little every time I have to be subjugated to any of McDouchebag wannabe tech journalist content here. People want to talk about forking Linux. I think putting a fork in both my eyeballs and puncturing my eardrums with said fork would be more entertaining, so I don't have to see or hear particular douchebag.
On distros no one cares about because it makes me happy. I find them to be cool. Right?
Isn't that amazing, though?
They're not going to get any traffic. I don't care. Heck, I don't even make them public right away. I do that because I can.
See, I love that, man, and that makes the world a little better.
Report on what makes you happy. I don't give a shit. I think your content, and this is going to be leveled at both of you, I think your content is not of value at all. Just my take.
I hope so. Check out something you hadn't thought about before. It's not Ubuntu based or whatever.
But
right?
it's sad because like the news websites, the tech news websites are mostly all shut down now. Like IDG has shuttered almost all their Linux coverage. I wrote for them about Linux for years, and they've mostly shuttered all that stuff. And most of the Linux coverage that you get from the big websites are negative things.
Do you know I find it ironic that the big websites that he wrote for have been shuttered. How'd Linux Journal work out for you, buddy? Pretty sure that paid promotion from Purism. Check my prior videos for those that are wondering what I mean. Worked out real well. I'm pretty sure that website shuttered not long after. Just saying.
Most, and even the stuff that's positive gets framed in a negative light. Like, for example, you go to a big website and they're covering Linux and they cover a new release of a new distro that is really pretty. Like, they did a great job with it. Yeah. Right. They either do all the things wrong with it, or they compare it against something else and tell you how that other thing is terrible and is going to be destroyed.
Well, if that's not a direct shot or indirect shot because you guys don't have the balls to actually say it, that's a shot at Jason Evangelo for Forbes, and that particular shot would have been towards Deepin. So let's talk about that for a second. He says how good Peppermint is. He talks about how good Deepin is. There's going to be comparisons. People won't understand unless they have a frame of reference. My frame of reference for dumbass here is that he's a dumbass from start to go. So yeah, they're going to compare it to Windows. They're going to compare it to Mac. They're going to compare it to other Linux distros. So people have a frame of reference to put into comparisons. Good, bad critiques. As an example, the Deepin software store or app store, hands down, is better than every other GUI-based app store on Linux. Fight me. Anybody coming from a tablet, Android, iOS, whatever, will understand and how that interface works. It's well organized. It's well structured. There's proper spacing. There's not a waste of white space, etc. That is the important stuff. So yeah, when you compare it to something like GNOME Software or Discover, there's going to be cynicism because this is better. This is what's wrong. You can give constructive criticisms and feedback by doing a comparison. My comparison to good tech journalist and bad tech journalist. You are the bad because you aren't tech journalist. The good are people like Eric Kane, Paul Tassi, I'm butchering his name, but Jason Evangelo. Those guys are journalists. They have more credibility in their fucking micron of a fucking fingernail atom. We'll go even smaller. We'll go with a cork in their fingernail than both of you fucking colliding neurons put together. So I take any cynicism that you guys do with a whole lot of grain of salt.
By this new pretty thing. Right? Instead of just talking about how things are great or how both things are awesome or just focusing on the one good thing. Exactly. It goes and then it drives the traffic. And I don't
It's true.
I hate to say that I blame the podcasters and the tech journalists, but it is all of our faults. We're the ones doing it.
Here's the thing. You're not journalist. You're an overglorified PR marketing douche. Hartley, I don't know what he does anymore. I stopped caring. Honestly, being irrelevant is kind of what he does to me. Do you, dude? But like in my context, like you're irrelevant. I'm irrelevant, but hey, whatever.
If all of us as a group just started being kind and thoughtful and positive about things, the traffic would stay at a reasonable, consistent level. None of us would need to chase each other with increasing negativity. But as long as there's a group that's pushing the negativity, they just pull together all the rest along with it. And there's the outliers. There's like,
you are a fucking idiot. I love how constructive criticism is, because you can, even in a bunch of swearing, laden-filled videos, if you actually take out the swearing, it's a signal to noise thing. Unfortunately, you're just too stupid to figure out how to filter out noise. Because honestly, pretty much all your content is nothing but noise. It's white noise. It's dumb content. If it makes you happy, awesome. As far as like actual substance, again, you have about as much substance as a giant fucking black hole of nothingness. Just like, to me, you two are like a giant black hole of nothing. Light goes around you, which is Linux content that everybody else does, and you just suck it into a giant void of crap. Because that's kind of what you guys do.
like there's like the Matt Hartleys and the me and and there's a couple others out there that are focusing on the positives, on the love, and we're always going to be the outliers. I honestly think, because man, I tuned into 2 podcasts last week. I took last week off of doing shows because I needed to recharge. I was working on a few extra projects. So I'm like, okay, I just took 1 week off. And I decided I'm gonna listen to a few Linuxy podcasts.
Oh, that was a mistake.
And
oh,
they were podcasts I listened to with people that I know.
Okay, well that helps. I mean, well, can't help. It depends. I mean,
with people that you know. Well, I'm surprised anyone wants to know you. Just saying.
I mean, I some of them are. I just don't anymore.
I just can't. I won't be doing it again anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it made me.
And no one in the world mourn you not listening to their content anymore. I know I don't. I know you've heard my content. I know you've heard my criticisms. I believe, to quote one of your Twitters, one of your tweets, without naming names, because you don't do that, because confrontation is not your thing. Having a pair of balls, I think you left them back in the womb. I believe one of your tweets was, I'm a bad person. I love it when people make videos about me with a mountain of swearing. If you thought that was a mountain, apparently you haven't watched some of my other videos about you, which is there's a whole fucking planet being thrown at you. How much I do not care for you. So, call it negativity or call it an actual critical critique of you. I'm an abrasive dick and an abrasive douche, and I know it. Look at your own character flaws, homie. It's easy to pick at negativity and all the other stuff when you aren't willing to look at your own character flaws. And you can sit there and say, oh, well, I looked at my character flaws and I was chasing the clicks. That's not a character flaw. That's not a flaw within you. That is a flaw in your thinking about how you want to do business. 2 different things. Your flaw is having a way over opinionated opinion of yourself and what you actually do and what you provide, content-wise and value-wise. If people want to put value into what you do, totally fine with that. I don't personally care. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be a critic and critique and criticize who I think are idiots. You just happen to be one of them. Because I'm still trying to think and figure out what any company, SUSE, Microsoft, whatever company you've worked for, has ever found value in you for. Hey, Brian, how did that open sourcing of Illumination Software Creator go for you?
Me think less of all the people involved in all the shows that I listen to.
Can I think any less of either one of you when I my thought process on you two is I've buried you 6 feet in the ground, so I completely forget you and I just have to walk on the ground, and I'm walking over you and I don't care because you're forgettable. There's a reason I stopped reacting to your content. It was because it's forgettable, it's boring, it's dumb, it adds no content to or context to an argument of anything. This entire video is being done because someone asked me to do it. I'm still waiting for some type of context or content to be added to this conversation.
There were moments of positivity. There were moments of kindness and excellence and coolness and promotion of Linux and promotion of free software. But most of it was, there's a free software company, I'm going to tear it down. There's a free software personality, I'm going to
There's a free software company, homie. Can you be any more indirect by being direct, you fucking pansy? Yeah, all the shots taken at purism. Here's the thing. Try transparency. Try actually knowing your facts. When you this is where you made yourself look like a dipshit more than you already do. When the former, I believe, CTO, if I'm not mistaken, posts a tweet and you say you are fired, and he posts his email saying, here's my resignation letter. Yeah. Where'd that tweet go, homie? Just saying.
Tear that person down. Oh, there's a project working on desktop environments. I want to rip them apart. And I'm just like, oh my heavens. Like,
and as far as the people you're directing that at, you're throwing shade at Destination Linux and all these other places. Okay, let's talk about that. As far as Destination Linux, for every bad thing they ever, like bad, constructive critical critique that they have of somebody, it is always, and I mean always, laden with, we appreciate the work that they're doing. But just because you can appreciate the work somebody does doesn't mean you can't be critical. There's a difference between critical and just kissing their ass. You know, well, actually, Lunduke, you should be well aware of how to kiss ass. Ask Richard Stallman.
Like, and it wasn't joking, you know, like on this show, you and I have a tendency to poke fun, right? Like every now and then, fedora, and like, well, you poke a little fun, but it's good natured. It's like we're friends, so we can jive with each other.
Well, it's like me poking at KDE. I'm harsh on KDE, but I have a lot of love for KDE. I'm using a distro that's specifically designed for KDE. Just saying.
That's
so
the other thing.
Tough love.
When Matt Hartley comes along and criticizes something like KDE, almost always, either in the same breath or in a follow-up show or article, he talks about the good stuff.
Sure.
And then people can be like, can balance it, right?
Right.
But I'm noticing this trend towards people will publish an article about something negative, something I hate, and they will never, almost never.
I'm going to be blunt. The only thing I hate right now is the fact that I'm wasting my time listening to this fucking drivel. Whoever recommended that I listen to this, there's a reason I'm wearing the hat, is to hide the ulcer that it's causing. Just saying.
Never followed up with the good stuff.
Yep.
And there's just way too much of that going on. Emil, you're totally right. They clearly didn't eat their Wheaties this morning. And
hate to break it to you, I'm going to piss in your Wheaties at the moment. You, both of you, contribute what? You want to talk about fair and balanced reporting, fair and balanced on podcasts, you're talking constructive criticism, the good laden with the bad. Lunduke, you have any idea how over opinionated and crap your take on things like Canonical as a company was when they were doing Ubuntu, you know, like Unity and stuff and the phone and all the other stuff? You were the most cynical douche because you had your flag planted so far up your own ass for OpenSUSE because you were the community manager, as you should have been. You were a shill. Okay, whatever, you're paid to do your job, kind of like you are right now for purism, you douche. But at the end of the day, look at one of your last Linux Sucks videos. I think it was 2017, where you talk about how Canonical is like doing like this canonically stuff, and you got to stop doing that. No, I think they should have kept going. I think they should have planted their. I think they should have taken the elementary OS approach and planted their flag and say, "Fuck you, we're doing it our way." Don't like it? There's the door. That is just as much. You're welcome to do what contribute. We might take it, we might not. That is no different than any other project. So, I find any criticism that you get hysterical, like that you give hysterical, because to me, you like to talk out of. I would say you have 2 assholes, but I think you have 12 because there's 10 attached to your hands. Because anytime I read an article, all I see is shit on my screen. And anytime I hear you talk, all I hear is shit coming out of your mouth. So, you are really full of shit.
People are just being so super cranky. But then again, if you're looking at podcasts or journalists, I'm going to say this flat out. I've worked in marketing for a couple of Linux companies now. The vast majority, of Linux and free software and open source journalists, whether they're podcasts, bloggers, whatever, never, and I mean never, reach out for comments or verifications or fact checking to anyone before they run negative stories. They catch wind. They're like,
oh, that is fucking rich coming from you. Or you. Lunduke, you are the prime example of not vetting sources. Matthew Garrett, that was your source. A tweet for a 20-minute video on how Jim Zellman's evil and all the other crap because he's using a Mac, supposedly. It wasn't even proven other than, that's my source. No pictures, no nothing. How many places have phones? People have phones, cameras. Oh, that's odd. Here's a picture. Give me a... You are the last person to talk about vetting sources. Homie, you couldn't even vet your own friggin' company when the CTO said, hey, I didn't get fired. I quit. Here's my resignation letter. What you do, you deleted your tweet with no verification, no nothing. Seems to me Todd Weaver is not exactly the most exemplary CEO to be following, because that narrative gets shot pretty quickly when actually examined and given evidence. So you also did PR for OpenSUSE, or SUSE specifically. Yeah, how will that work out for him? There's a reason. A lot of the places you work seem to go away. Let's just put it that way. You are not somebody I would want in marketing, so why the fuck people hire you? Don't know. So my next question is, and I love the ideals of purism, it's just the person that's in charge of implementing it and hiring people, they suck at it. They're inept. Yes, that means Todd Weaver. I believe you're inept.
I smell something stinky, and someone sends them like an email, and they're like, I heard so and so murders puppies, and so what they'll do is then they'll have a podcast and an article about definite puppy murder, and no one will ever reach out to anyone and be like, well, let's verify things. They just won't.
Oh no, why would you do that when you have a barometer that is how loud it is? So that's your barometer.
Loud? Is it angry?
Yeah, and how many people have lemminged along with a thing? I've seen this for years. Some of my earliest days, I was one of the things I picked up.
We're gonna talk about being lemmings. That's rich. I like Matt Harley, like personality wise. He's laid back, etc. But I'm gonna go off here. You too. Again, totally opinion, and I don't care. You can call this criticism, you can call this being negative, all you want. At the end of the day, to me, this is this is rich, given the source and that it's coming from. I don't know how else to put this. Oh, wow.
Up in the tech community in general, real early days, that was a common theme. And the barometer for its importance and its validity is based on how loud and how many people, go along with it.
Yes.
That's true. It's just
totally
sad.
true. And it's sad and the thing is, I honestly do believe that the vast majority of the people doing this are really good people. But
a certain majority of these people call a spade, good, bad, or indifferent. Example, I'm calling a spade as how I see a fucking spade. I'm calling you both overglorified, over-opinionated, wannabe tech journalists. To me, you're over-opinionated bloggers. Hey, if that passes for journalism now, okay, whatever. But for me, honestly, like, I just don't care. Like people want me to get mad about this, and it's ignorance. Oh no, somebody said something negative with a lot of swearing. Filter out the swearing, filter out what, find the kernel that you need, novel idea, and actually look and examine it. Because eventually, every criticism, every critique, every laden bitch fit has a point underneath it all. It's just peeling away the layers. The difference is because neither of you want to do that, and you guys are so... You're not multifaceted. You're not multi-layered. You guys are so... You guys are so one-dimensional. Like, out and out.
But they get caught up in it. They get, I got to chase the clicks, so I got to put out something negative, and they do all that stuff, and it's just awful.
Yeah.
And I would implore all of you, because I know a lot of you are watching this show and immediately hitting the down, like whatever, on whatever platform you're watching the show on, because that's what you guys do. But
Yeah, pretty much.
just be excellent to each other.
Yeah, I know. How dare people criticize other people? I'm open for criticism. I embrace the criticism. By all means, criticize me. I don't give a shit. Here's the thing. Criticism makes you better. I'm still waiting for either one of you to be better. Better content, better substance. Other than shit. Because you're kind of both full of that, but, you know, whatever.
Promote free software. And you know what's amazing to me? This really grinds my gears. When the very same people that are putting out massive, churning out negativity just constantly, and not balanced negativity where they also talk about good things, but just random negativity against people and groups and projects and desktops and organizations and all of it, and never balance it out and never fact check anything.
No irony of source. His own words. Not fact-checking anything. See prior statement about own company you work for, PR fucking moron. Why did they hire you for marketing when you're so fucking terrible at it?
Also are a lot of the same people that are trying to talk about topics like, why isn't Linux desktop growing more? We must have marketing issues. It's like, no, it's exactly. You guys.
Wow, if that's not a shot at Tux Digital. No, the problem is not those guys. Those guys are giving news. What you do isn't... There's a way to promote. You would know this if you were actually a decent marketer. But seeing how you aren't, here's the thing. People like Tux Digital, Michael Tennell, etc., know how to do marketing. There are people that I know in the Linux community that want to do marketing for Linux, the Linux projects. Developers don't care about the marketing aspect of it. They don't take that into consideration because that's not their goal, their mind frame. Whatever. If marketing is a thing that you are paid for, in your case there, McDouchebag, that that video of promoting purism was fucking terrible on so many levels. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say to that.
Yeah.
It's you guys.
We have marketing. It's just really unpleasant.
Oh, it's gotten so negative. Anyway, Emil, you're totally right. It's a problem, and I don't...
So I have a simple solution for this.
What do you do?
When you read or hear about something like this, stop, drop, and go contribute to an open source project.
I like that.
Seriously, instead of drop off and roll, go give your time, go promote something cool, go do something positive.
I like that.
Counteract that ugly negativity
Yeah.
with something awesome.
Yeah.
Put that in a vacuum. Nature hates a vacuum, and quite frankly, you can't have darkness with light. So there you go.
Actually, I would debate that, given the fact that my name's Dark One. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this stuff is light that I can see and you can see. So if I was darkness, you couldn't see anything. So for every good thing you do, contribute a positive thing. For every video I've done, my content of criticism and critique and other reactions even out. The sum of the parts do not always make the whole. You have to look at the whole sometimes to get that and understand that the parts make it what it is. You're not going to get a full picture if you're only looking at micro. You have to look at macro. In Lunduke's case, Matt Hartley's case, they can't see big picture macro stuff. They can only see micro. This is like microeconomics versus macroeconomics. Sometimes you have to look at macro to understand the micro, and sometimes you have to look at micro to understand the macro. And these guys are incapable of both. They can't see a big picture, and when they get down to a micro, like this one thing, they're not looking at the whole. I would say it's because they have tunnel vision from their head peeking out through their penis, but that would insinuate that they actually have a pair of balls and they actually have a pair of dicks to actually, they like to be vague on their criticism. The only reason they have tunnel vision is because the only orifice they have their head poking through is their own ass and out their mouth, because they regurgitate their own shit. Just saying.
I love that, man. Yes. Put out something positive and constructive and awesome into the world when you see that. Oh,
doesn't have to be related. Just do something nice. Real world, virtual world, whatever. Just fill that void with something negative garbage.
Put out a little positive. Counteract it. Yeah. Balance the world out a little bit. Exactly. But Emil.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. You're talking strictly in the virtual, but you're saying, oh, go do something positive in the virtual or the real. How do you know what they're doing in the real? Because you talk about putting out positive in the virtual right now. Oh, do something positive. I'm waiting for some type of positive contribution from either one of you dickless monkeys.
I feel you, buddy. Oh, do I feel you?
Exactly.
Welcome to our world. And also, you know what? I'm sorry personally for putting out so much negativity in years past.
I'm sorry. I've been subjugated to 37 minutes of watching this content because there's so much stupid in it that there's just so much to say. And I could go on and on and on and on. I don't know if I can, my mind, as I listen to this, not only do you want me to make my eardrums burst and bleed so I don't have to hear you, I think you have killed every fucking neuron and synapse firing in my brain with the amount of stupid and the amount of hypocrisy that comes out of both of your mouths. Vet sources, you're both guilty of not doing that.
Oh yeah, I've done some pieces.
We both
Most of mine were written. But I've done some.
See, most of my negative stuff was in shows.
Yeah,
and my articles tended to remain pretty positive, but I did some negative shows where I really got pretty negative about things, and not necessarily in a constructive way. In a view.
Do you know constructive would insinuate that you actually gave some type of content and value to something? ... 0 to infinity as far as value. Let's put a negative in front of the infinity and that's what you've contributed, because your content equals that value of negative infinity. You add nothing. What if Linus leaves the Linux kernel? Need I say more?
You promoting way in a
Sure,
way that
sure.
that helps get me at clicks and attention, and that's what so many podcasts and YouTube channels and whatnot are doing now. There's a couple of exceptions out there, and you notice that those are the ones I promote because
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
the ones. And here's the thing: some of them are bigger than me.
You like the ones that those are the ones you promote. By all means, promote them. I would never want an endorsement from you. Double speaking, lying sacks of monkey dickless shit, I would not want promotion from. See, this is the thing that bothers me. People don't understand like what I'm attracted to when it comes to content. This is so insincere. Like that, you can tell on how they're saying things that they don't believe it. There's no passion in this. This is just rambling to talk. Like it is so phony. They're phoning it in. Like you can just tell. Look at where their eyes are moving. What side of the brain are they accessing most of the time? Like they're just so phony. And so much phony to it that it's not even like it's not even funny. It's kind of fucking sad. So to me, like do you? But like if you want to phone it in, then that's on you. Like people are probably expecting me to be like rage filled right now, and it's just like I can't be rage filled because of the amount of stupid. The amount of hypocrisy and the amount I'm just sad at how fake these guys are.
And I still promote them. It's
Exactly.
not a competition. I'm fine. I'm happy. I don't need to claw my way to the top and tear other people down. I just want to focus on.
So I just want to make a comment here. You do realize that for some people, it's not about clawing their way to the top and tearing people down. It's about tearing people down who are bluntly hypocritical and liars. Kind of, you.
The ones that are awesome. This one, he's awesome. There's a lot of awesome ones.
Well,
Let's just
and
focus on the awesome.
Point blank, I mean, people are they're drawn to people that are enthusiastic and excited about something, not
Yeah.
angry at things. Honestly, that
All the
doesn't
time.
really, yeah, that will wear on you. You'll have an audience for.
It's not about being enthusiastic. Sincerity, authenticity, and passion comes through in those ways, in the way people speak about things and how they look at things and how they view things. And there's no passion. There's it's so this is like a rehearsed shtick. You're one dimensional and it's see-through. Like I don't know what else to say to this. Like, oh my God, is this over yet?
For a little while, but it will wear on you. And after a while, as a listener, you're just like, "Oh my God, okay."
And I want to be clear.
Wow.
I think what me and Matt and Emil are talking about here is not criticism, because a valid, constructive criticism is usually balanced. But
Why can't it be this way? Why can't they do this? Why?
No, there's a difference, because some people do not expect in a wording way. Some people are very upfront and confrontational and honest and type and feel about how they feel. I would know this because I've listened to make dumbasses content before, and I've gotten very passionate, and you can tell that I would much rather be doing other things. At the end of the day, people express their criticisms in different ways. You are just too stupid to understand that.
Why can't
Right,
they?
like
We
here's
fix
what
it this
I
way.
would suggest,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And
Here's a
and you
possible
can
solution. Sure.
you can smell it when someone is just negative or on a personal
Right.
vendetta mission or just trying to
Right.
chase the clicks.
So, two things. Before I got the, oh, I'm chasing clicks and being negative or etc. If you haven't figured out my content by now, anybody who watches, that I'm not in it for traffic. I'm not in it for X, Y, or Z. I make the content I want to make. I was asked to react to this, so I did. I was like, it's an interesting topic to be in general. And I haven't done a Mr. Hypocrite video in a while. So I wanted to see what maybe Matt Hartley would have brought to the table. And it's just a yes man situation. This reminds me of when he was on JB. Just a yes man situation. Like at the end of the day, I give two craps about what these two do. The only craps that I give is, and I am legit at this point, don't understand, nor will I. I stopped banging my head against that wall, but I will always ask the question, why do people value this hypocrite?
Because they won't balance it out, right?
No.
And you'll notice if you listen to a podcast or read a news site and they pick, let's say GNOME or KDE, because there's ones they get attacked fairly regularly because they're big,
Oh, yeah.
or Ubuntu. Like if they
Ubuntu's-
attack,
they're a whipping boy right there.
if they attack Ubuntu and never say anything nice ever about Ubuntu, you know they're not a news source. They're not a place that's trying to give you something interesting or information.
Right.
They're not feeling.
So this entire video, like seriously, like give me a break. This is sad. This is really, really sad.
Positive. They're just either trying to hurt someone,
Yep.
like Ubuntu, or they're trying to chase the clicks, right?
Exactly.
Like for me, and I know, I think Matt's in this boat too. I've written some real negative things about Ubuntu and some real positive things about Ubuntu. I've written articles declaring that various versions of Ubuntu are literally perfect.
10.10, 10.04, 12.04. ... Everything after that, you bitch, whine, and complained about. Everything Canonical did. I'm not talking Ubuntu. I'm talking Canonical as a company. So the only... Because I saw no positive there. Still don't. I'm trying to find a net positive this entire video. Looks like that's in the fucking phantom zone or the negative zone, because there ain't any.
And I stand by that. They've done some amazing releases.
They have.
And then I will follow it up with, here's a problem, and I will harp on that problem. And then I will follow it up with, man, the community did a great job on X, Y, and Z. They did awesome. Great job, Ubuntu community. Like, that you can tell the difference. You can smell it. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So, short version. This has been like a 48-minute. Oh my god, I got an hour almost. I'm never gonna get my fucking life back. Every neuron and synapse in my brain has been officially fried, given the amount of hypocrisy, stupidity, ignorance, and just like lack of self-evaluation these two have shown. Again, you know, he talks about constructive criticism. It comes in a variety of different ways. People express themselves different ways. Criticism is still valid. Difference is, you, in your case, you're just too lazy to search through the noise. This is the same, and you're a community manager or marketer or whatever the hell your fucking job title is. Wow, I pity that company. There's a reason people question the company you work for. And I'm not going to lie, the whole vet your sources thing, if that doesn't reek of hypocrisy, and say a lot about Lunduke as a person. You want to follow him, that's your fucking prerogative. But to me, this says a lot about the people who like love his content. You want? I'm not gonna yell. I'm not gonna scream. Like, it's just sad. To me, these guys are, they don't. They talk in generalities and whatnot. They don't confront things. So to me, these guys are a bunch of ballless, dickless hypocrites that have their head shoved up their ass and like to open their mouth so that shit comes out of their mouth anytime they're on video, and anytime they type, they got a screen full of shit because it's 10 fingers, 10 assholes on their fingers. So my take, it's the same shtick, it's the same bullshit. If you like him, cool. To me, he's a hypocrite. Both of them at this point. I used to like Matt, but to me, he's just coming across as a yes man. What do you want me to say? There's better people out there. Tux Digital, Jason Evangelo, Destination Linux Network, Big Daddy Linux, DistroTube. Say what you want. There are far, far better people the Linux community can get behind who can actually do this weird thing and contribute to the community. Because I'm still waiting for a contribution from Jackass 1 or 2 here. So that'll happen about the time infinity runs into the ass end of eternity. Just saying.